Hello everyone, Chris Lashavo with Remax Heritage Professionals, and we are once again at the end of another month, the end of June 2023, so our stats for the end of May 2023 are available. So let's get into the numbers for Winter Haven, Florida. Closed sales, we had 83 closed sales in Winter Haven in May 2023 compared to 112 a year ago, a decrease of 25.9%. So the news about the housing market slowing is accurate, and it does seem to be slowing here. But it's not happening for the reason you probably think it is, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. Cash sales as a percentage of closed sales, 21.7% of all sales are cash sales compared to 31.3% a year ago, a decrease of 30.7%. Median sales price $305,000 compared to $300,100 a year ago, an actual increase of 1.6%. Average sales price $302,905 compared to $292,783, an increase of 3.5%. So home prices in Winter Haven actually went up. If you watch the Polk County video, home prices for the county actually went down 0.9%, so not much, but just interesting to compare. Median percent of original list price, sellers are receiving 97.8% of list price compared to 100% a year ago, a decrease of 2.2%. Median time to contract, 31 days compared to 10 days a year ago, an increase of 210%. Median time to sale, 74 days compared to 49 days, an increase of 51%. New pending sales, 86 new pending sales compared to 101 a year ago, a decrease of 14.9%. New listings, 103 new listings compared to 121 a year ago, a decrease of 14.9%. Pending inventory, 128 pending compared to 145 a year ago, a decrease of 11.7%. Active inventory, 225 homes active in Winter Haven compared to 105 a year ago, an increase of 114.3%. And our month supply of inventory is right at 3 months supply of inventory compared to 1 month a year ago, an increase of 200%. If you tune in, we'll talk a little bit more about how the closed sales and prices and what's happening in the market and why those things are happening. Look forward to talking with you about that. So, as we've identified, basically, home prices have remained relatively stable. Polk County, they went down 0.9%. Winter Haven, they went up around 3%. Closed sales are down, so the market is slowing. The amount of activity happening in the housing market is slowing. Inventory is down in terms of new listings, but overall active inventory is up. So, and that has all to do with the market slowing. And really what is driving what's happening with the market right now, it's all about supply. So what's happening is there are a lot of home buyers out there who got their homes at 2.5%, 3% mortgage rates. And so they're choosing to stay in their homes rather than sell. So, and that's even if they don't particularly like their home, because they don't want to trade a 3% interest rate for a 6.5% interest rate. And honestly, who could blame them? And basically, they could afford half the house, less than half the house, if you're just looking at mortgage rates. So they're choosing to stay put, which means that we're not having a lot of resale inventory come on the market, which is why our new listings continue to go down from what it was a year ago. That is also impacting the rate of closed sales. Because there aren't enough homes on the market, there's not as much homes actually selling and closing, so your closed sales number is going to go down. So the market is slowing from that perspective. But you'll also notice that prices are not dropping. So, there's all kinds of people who, honestly, since I've been a realtor for 6 years, have been predicting a market crash. And, the fact of the matter is that the market is cyclical. It will eventually, at some point, crash. Probably not as bad as it did in '08. But is that crash going to be next month? Next year? 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. The fact of the matter is no one knows. What we can say is that home values dropped in '08 because there was a flood of inventory. A lot of people sold their homes because either they just wanted to sell, or because they were being foreclosed on, because a lot of people got bad mortgages, or a lot of people got mortgages that shouldn't have, rather. And so none of those things are happening right now. I've read lots of articles recently that talk about the fact that default rates, people in pre-foreclosure, foreclosure, are at all-time lows. So that kind of eliminates the idea of a flood of foreclosures hitting the market. And you'd have to have an increase of supply in order for home prices to drop dramatically. So it's probably not coming from there. Even if there were an increase of people going into foreclosure, the federal government's working on some programs to ensure that that's not what happens, that banks try to keep people in their homes, and so they're working on alternative programs through FHA in particular, to make sure that people are able to stay in their home and not be foreclosed on. So even if we saw a bunch of people falling behind or getting underwater, we're not looking at a bunch of short sales and foreclosures coming. And then again, the government's looking at ways to creating some programs to keep people in their homes. So we're not going to see an increase of inventory from a flood of foreclosures. So the inventory's got to come from new home builders, and honestly, I've read some stats there that new home sales increased 13%, I think it was almost 13% over what it was a year ago. So people are buying new homes, and builders are building new homes, and a lot of the supply chain issues have gone away for new home construction. The only thing that's remaining is labor shortages. And here in Florida, of course, that could get worse with Governor DeSantis' some of his policies about migrant workers and things like that, because honestly, they're the people building the houses. And so depending on how many people decide to try to stick it out versus leave the state, that could create an even bigger problem for inventory if we don't have enough workers to build houses, because honestly, that's the only place we see an inventory increase at this point. Either that or mortgage rates are going to have to go down quite significantly in order for people to feel like they can trade their 3% mortgage for maybe a 4.5% mortgage. That might cause more sellers to decide to sell a home that's no longer working for them. I also hear a lot of people talking about, well, I'm going to wait until mortgage rates come down. And the reality is you and everybody else. And what's going to happen when there's a flood of buyers to a market where there is an inventory, home prices are going to go back up again. Like I said, they've leveled off, but they're going to go back to that, 30 bids and over asking and waive all your contingency kind of market that a lot of people wanted to sit out. The people that sat out have to now pay the higher mortgage rates. People who are sitting out now are going to end up paying higher prices if they sit out, waiting on the mortgage rates to drop. My best advice if you're looking to purchase a home right now is to go ahead and see what you can get pre-approved for. Stop the cycle of renting, get into a home. If you can stay in it and have some stability for 3 to 5 years, you're going to earn some equity, and then maybe you can upgrade to the house you really want. But that way you've got some equity and you're earning some wealth. If you wait, you're gonna end up being in the bidding wars, and that market was not good for a lot of people. And waiving contingencies isn't good for anyone. You'll also have the opportunity to refinance when the mortgage rates do drop. If you do like your home, you want to stay in it, then refinance it. So I think there's some options out there for home buyers, but waiting is not, I don't think, a good option. In terms of selling, get your home on the market. there isn't enough inventory. You're going to get a good price for your home. Like I said, the stats suggest you're getting 97-98% of asking price. And honestly, if it's a home that's well maintained, that's updated, move-in ready, those sellers are really getting more than asking price or a minimum asking price. So anyway, I hope you found this information helpful. If you have questions about what's happening in the housing market locally, please reach out to me. I'd love to answer your questions. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'd love to have you. Have a great day, everybody.